Hello, 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 people of Earth. My name is Archer, and welcome to Back to the Mat, Episode 10. This is a show where I, a former wrestling fan, step back into the world of pro wrestling after many years away. So, this series is basically me catching up, reacting, and rediscovering everything I loved about pro wrestling. So, if you've ever taken a break from wrestling or you want to see someone experience it all over again, join me. And today, we're going to be talking about Monday Night Raw. All right, let's get into some of your comments from last week, or from the last episode, I should say. Huge shout out to at JadenB26 for leaving this comment. He kind of gives some of his thoughts about Friday Night SmackDown as well as the Raw episode that just happened. So, yeah, there's a lot going on here. Mentions how Randy turning heel was the easy choice. Highly agree, and it's it's gonna be quite interesting what direction Randy goes with this heel turn. Like I mentioned it in the last episode, I don't think it's '09 Randy, but I feel like his anger is built upon something else. Like he needs some fuel to drive this story rather than you know friends fighting for a championship. I think he needs like that anger that built in. Like I need a reason to take this from you and get my 15. You know what I mean? But yeah, Jaden also talks about the Punk calling Punk old is the final show. That's God, we are going to get into that. It I couldn't believe it either. It was unbelievable. Sometimes, God, Lord. Never mind. We'll get into it. We'll get into the whole thing. Let's look forward, or let's just take a look at today's topics. Jesus. All right. So before I even get into the topics, I just have to say, you've probably noticed this already. Yeah, I'm heavily sick. Like this episode, the reason it took so goddamn long to get out there is because I've just been sick, and if you hear it in my voice, I don't really edit my videos too much just because I like to get it out there as quick as possible. But I feel like I'm gonna have to actually work on this episode a little bit more in terms of editing so that the audio comes out a little better. Uh, so yeah, because I can already feel it in my throat that this is going to be a hard voice to listen to. So I'm going to do my best to try to fix it in post, essentially. But yeah, for the most part, I just like to just not churn the content, but like get it out there as fast as possible. I've been doing a horrible job, but it's still a learning curve here, so awesome. Um, yeah, let's get into the agenda. The Seth Rollins and Paul Heyman segment. We're going to talk about the Oba Femi versus Brock Lesnar. It's official. The graphic is up. Not really much to say on the Randy Orton interview, but we'll get into that. And of course, the letdown of the century. I would say the century, but the letdown of this storyline. Roman Reigns and CM Punk. What the heck was that promo? All right, let's talk about it. The way Paul Heyman looks in this image, and also as he was like walking out, I don't have a picture of that, but that's essentially how I feel this whole week. How I felt this whole week. Just like, oh God, this is just horrible. Can't believe I'm sick. But you know what I'm really sick of? I'm sick of this ridiculousness of Seth Rollins and this masked man and this whole thing. And look, I most of this episode because I'm a little sick. I won't be doing like the quotes or the line. Maybe I might go back, kind of fix a couple things, but I'll just be broadly talking about it. Why are they still doing this masked man thing? Like, he could just appear. And I'm not gonna, like, go through this all over again, but it's getting nauseating. Like, the purpose for these people, I don't understand it. Like, when he walks out, I mean, when he appears, why does he have to appear with them? Anyway, whatever. Just whatever. Paul Heyman comes out and he basically telling him, "Oh, you f, basically FAFO, you fuck around and find out," and then it kind of leads up to the F5. Brock's music hits, and he just runs through all of these masked men. Um, okay, fine, I get it. It was alright. I'm trying to like go through the process of how they were sort of building this out because it doesn't. I'm not saying it doesn't make sense, but why was Seth still in the ring? Like, these masked men are either like a distraction or they kind of like do the heavy lifting for him. But and Michael Cole says he's like, "Oh, wait, Seth is not cleared to compete." And I'm like, if you're using these masked people, you should use them to your advantage and escape. Like, they're there to take the hits, take the bumps, take the fall, and then you on the side kinda like be like scurry away, and then Brock looks around like, "What? Where'd he go?" And like, "Oh, he was focused on, you know, the 20 guys that he forgot about Seth Rollins." And the weird thing was they were in the ring together, and they kinda like stared at each other, and it was like the most awkward thing. I'm like, "Are you either of you gonna do anything?" And Seth just, like, stares at him, they just stare. I'm like, "What is the point of you 2 facing off?" And, like, and don't give me the, "Oh, this is gonna be them." I'm like, facing each other months in advance. I'm like, "Yeah, then do it then, don't do it, like, now." I'm like, "Yeah, he could break you like a twig at this very moment." Like, you're Michael Cole said it, he's like, "He's not cleared to compete." I'm like, "Yeah, he could just take your face and smash it." Like, but he just kinda, like, he just do this, like, weird staring, and I'm thinking, like, if I'm Seth, I'm like, and they're putting this all together, I'm like, it doesn't make sense for this mask thing to still be here. I could just appear. Why is Brock looking at me? And why is no one doing anything? Like, should I hit him? Should Brock hit me? And then the thing is, I think there's like one guy in the ring, and Seth's like, go get him. And I'm like, all right, this is your moment to go away. And he still doesn't go away. It was the most bizarre thing. So I'm like, all right, awkward face off. And Oba Femi comes out. Oba Femi comes out, and this is the point where Seth actually scurries away. I'm like, all right, he made his escape. Oba and Brock kind of face off to the ring. I wish I knew the exact term. I think it was like a pump up power bomb. And Brock sold it so well. Oh my God, you know what I just realized? Freaking, I forgot to go to the next line. Let's do that. Jesus. Wow. There it is. Look at that reaction. Brock sold it like a champ, man. I don't think, has anyone ever like done that to Brock Lesnar? It's very like, there's been stories of Brock Lesnar, you know, only selling when he really likes the person, or you really think that this is actually gonna go somewhere and it's worth his time and this and that. That look on his face was like, it's like, wow, he's really serious about this. He's not half-assing this one. I don't know why. Oh, he like Oba's the one. I think in the past they had something with Braun Strowman, but then I think what ticked Brock off was the knee. I still remember this. Like, he hit him with the knee, and Brock actually punched him. So I think uh, that just kind of fizzled out. Because Brock like, maybe I don't want to work with him. But yeah, when Brock wants to be serious, when Brock actually wants to work with someone, he kind of like takes the bump, he takes the fall, he sells really well, and, this was great, so I enjoyed it. We all kinda knew it was leading here. I say "we," but, I think in the moment when they were in the ring, I was like, maybe they might do Brock versus Seth," but then Oba coming out kinda just was like, "Alright, this is better." I don't really care for Brock and Seth at Mania. It doesn't matter to me. Just, like, I feel like I've seen that somewhere. I don't need to see it more. I'd rather see someone else get pushed, and it was great. It was a great moment. He put his leg straight on Lesnar's chest. That's a bold move. I don't know whose idea that was, whether it was, like, a spontaneous thing or whether Brock gave him, like, the permission. That was a great move. It's also, like, what's funny? They do this in the video games. I haven't played, like, a WWE video game in years, but there are some wrestlers in video games where they can pin you with I think Jericho used to have it in the old video games. So they can pin you by just putting the leg on top of their chest and like 1, 2, and then kind of flex. I love that. I don't know why wrestlers don't use that more. It's like a very heelish kind of way. It's when I saw him put the foot on the chest, I was like, oh yeah, it took me back to those video game days. Or just use that pin. It's like, it's just the best. It's not like doing anything. It's just you need the guy to be unconscious to get the final 3 because your weight is not even on him. Like, so. But yeah, I'm excited for this. I'm excited for this. I'm excited that Paul Heyman's back. Um, by the way, I love the look on Paul Heyman's face. I know I'm like going back here. I'm going like a little backwards, but I love the look on Paul Heyman's face. The He really took this seriously. Like the last time we saw him, chair shot to the back, curb stomp in the hospital, bloody face, and he really kept that look all together, all the way throughout this week. It's not like he got prettied up. He didn't put the makeup on and this and that spray tan, all this crap. He really committed to like, I was hurt and I had bruises. I have these bloodshot eyes and I'm gonna keep the consistency all the way through, right? Like he didn't like I like this. This adds to the story of Paul Heyman and the fact that he kind of went the extra mile. I don't know what he did to achieve this look, whether it's like some special effects artist or like I don't know, maybe he threw some stuff in his eye. I don't like I don't know what length Paul Heyman would go to to get this sort of look. Like you hear like some of these old wrestlers, they would like just do stuff to themselves just to like make it look like we're like, wow, his eyes are like super bloodshot. Looks like he didn't get like sleep or whatever, this and that. And maybe that's something, and that's something that they actually did. So I'm like, oh, this dude really looks like he's been through the ringer. Like he took it seriously. The consistency was there, and Paul committed to the role of like, yeah, if I was hurt last week and I was like distressed last week, I was bloodied up. Guess what? I'm gonna continue it this week. So I think it adds to the story. I think it adds to the character, and look, it's the little things sometimes. It doesn't have to be like super polished up and everything has, all the hair is in the right place and this and that. Sometimes you need this, and I appreciate it. All right, let's get to that Orton interview. I'm already liking this. I'm so intrigued by who is on the other line, right? Like they're soon gonna introduce whoever that character is. Maybe it's Bob Orton, right? Maybe we get the father and son thing back. Maybe Orton's like, well, I have my dad, and he's gonna probably bring up Dusty and everything. It's gonna happen. I know I said Reigns bringing up Larry was gonna happen, and that just fizzled out. But, I like the fact that it's not just, like, Orton and Cody. Now you have this, like, secretive other side, and Orton kinda talks about it, you know? And he says, and this is I do have the quote here. He says, "Finally, I had a conversation with someone that had a brain, and they said something profound to me, something that made me think about my life and made me understand who I am and what I am," right? Essentially, he goes, "You see, I'm a killer, and wrestling has more than one royal family." You know, after the Orton heel turn, after this segment, I was and oh jeez, after the Roman Reigns CM Punk segment tonight or Monday night, I was thinking to myself, this should be night 2, main event. Is most likely gonna be Roman and Punk, but this should be night 2. I feel like there's so much going on. Who's on the other line? Is that person gonna, like, walk with Randy to the ring? Like, is his new manager or voice of reason? Like, well, who's this person going to be? It's so it's getting me interested. I cannot wait to watch SmackDown. I cannot wait to see what Randy has to say. There is so much going on here and so much to, enjoy and like, and at the end of the day, placement on the card doesn't really matter. But I would after seeing this, I was like, this should be night 2 main event. But, yeah, he said, "Look, I'm a killer." So what direction are they gonna go? How are they gonna take this? Is he gonna mention that he slapped Dusty in the face? That he slapped him in the face? You know? What is this like, advice? What is this, you know, who's on the other line? It may have been easy. Turning Randy heel may have been the easy choice, but I feel like this is like his world. Like this is his comfort zone. Look at him putting like the fingers and just wait a minute. This is who I'm talking to is more important than the scheduled interview that I have with Michael Cole. And I'm like, this guy. Like it's not much. It's not like, oh God, it's amazing. It's a revolution. No, but I'm like, he's going to have fun with this. The problem is at the end of the day, people still love Randy. They look at him, they go, "Wow, this guy's changed over the years. He's amazing. He's a great guy, father, husband, whatever." And they love him because nostalgia, right? Just he's been in their lives longer than Cody has, and Cody is just being shoved down our face. And he finished the story, and he got the championship back, and it feels. And so, what I'm trying to say is, even though you know us as fans are supposed to hate Randy, like, clearly, it doesn't matter. Like, it doesn't matter. We're gonna, like, cheer him, we're gonna, like, we're gonna root for him, it's gonna be amazing. Um, I honestly lost my train of thought when I was, like, mentioning all this. I had a point here, but I still think the double heel turn is coming. However predictable that is, I said it I think I said it, like, a few times. A big moment has to occur. What's gonna be the turning point? What's gonna be the big, "Whoa, that just happened at WrestleMania?" It's Cody turning heel, however obvious that may be. Unless they have something else. I don't know. Who do is it Killer Cross on the other line? I don't know. Like, is he back or something? Like, but I'm still wondering about that. I haven't been in the bubble, but I've been hearing whispers, and I'm like, somehow his story is, like, crossed over into the reality of not my world, but, like, it just crossed over, and so I know, like, certain things, and I'm like, "Wow, yeah." I think I saw, like, an interview of his, and I I think he's gone because it's been so long. I feel like if they would have brought him back, but who knows? Maybe it's long-term storytelling. Yeah, this is me just thinking out loud. They made us wait, like, 2 weeks for this, and it was a complete waste. It was a com like, here's the thing, like, I care less. I was so excited to see what Roman's response was gonna be, because I feel like when I left, people, like, hated Roman, like, they were sincerely like, "Get this guy off the screen," and then apparently, like, literally, like, when I left, he just escalated and reached a whole new level in terms of promo, in-ring work, and I'm not saying, like, he doesn't have that. And so, this whole build up to this moment, I was like, "Oh, he's gonna, like, pull out something that's it's gonna be amazing, like, what's it gonna look like?" He's got everyone doing the ones. I could never imagine people loving Roman Reigns the way they love him now. Back when I was, like, fan, it was just wasn't that idea was not even conceivable. I was like, "How are you gonna get them to like you?" But he's got it. He's got it all. But this episode was I I was I was disappointed. I was like, "That's it? That's all that that you got? Like, this is what" like, it was so lackluster and so meaningless, and how it ended just made me feel like, "Oh, ja I can't believe that's what st this storyline is gonna be based off." The fact that he said, "You're old," and then he gets dropped. I'm like, "Oh, what happened?" And, and Jaden said something, like, I think he said something along the lines of, "Well, maybe Punk didn't want him to talk about Larry and this and that," and I'm like, if I'm Punk and I drop that line, all bets are off. I'm like, "Look, man, I don't really care about your goddamn dog at this point. Like, he talked about, like, my father and disrespect to my family. Like, who gives a crap about your dog right now? I'm mentioning the dog." You know what I mean? Like, if honestly, if that was the case, if Punk was like, "Please don't talk about the dog," I'm very disappointed. For the story and for everything, I'm like, "Really?" Like, that you could say whatever, but he can't, but even if you took out the dog, because I will say the dog was low-hanging fruit, it was right there. I think everyone was talking about it, they're like, "Yeah, he's gonna mention the dog, isn't he? It's gonna happen, it's gonna happen." And maybe Roman's like, "Maybe I don't wanna mention the dog." Everyone's expecting it. Yeah, well, Cade gets the reaction, but I don't really feel like I think in his mind, maybe I could do better. Maybe I can sell this a little bit, and I'm like after this, I'm like, "No, he couldn't. That was bad." Like, even though he got dropped at the end, I think Punk, in terms of, promo work, did better. And that's why in the previous, I said, I would rather have Orton and Rhodes as WrestleManias rather than this. This this was just bad, you know? Because they had the build up backstage with the Usos, and he's like, "Oh, I got," he got something. They're like, "Oh, just wait," like all this stuff. I'm like, "Oh, he's loading up," you know. It's gonna be heavy hands, and it was just a surprising letdown, you know. And let me try to find the quote here. I believe I have it. It's from Roman, and oh, here. Okay, I got it right here. He says, "This is what you cheer for? I've heard this garbage for 5 years straight. Which one is the real tribal chief? I mean, come on with this garbage." You are trite, you are redundant, you repeat the same shit over and over and over and over. Oh, and he's not here. He's a part-timer. Good. So, and he says some other stuff, you know. Let me see if I even want to say this. You know, no, no. What he says after is really useless. Um, the thing is, he says, you know, you're redundant and you repeat the same shit over and over and over. Go back and watch. Like Roman says, like I'm the tribal chief and acknowledge me. Like he says the tribal chief part a few times, and I'm like, I get it, like best in the world versus tribal chief, but I'm like, you're not really helping yourself in this case, right? Like he really reiterates over and over that I am the tribal chief, that I am. If you acknowledge me, like let's see here. How did he start off this whole promo when he walked into the ring? What was the first thing he said? He said, "Oh yes, sir, San Antonio, acknowledge me." And I'm like, well, you did. You said that to Punk, and then first sentence that came out of your mouth is that. I'm like, you can't really throw it in his face when you do the same thing, you know. And the whole part timer thing, I'm like, all right. But I'm like, there was no substance. There's no heat behind this. It's like I don't understand. Also, why is Punk so mad at the fact that he was called old? Like that was the reason. Like it seems like Roman found like the trigger. Like, oh, it's I think he talked about AJ, and even that was nothing. Let's revisit that. Let's go back here. Uh oh, it's the same one. Maybe you should figure out what the top dollar do. Why don't you go ask your wife? Sorry about that. So until you come up with something that could actually phase me, don't waste my time, Phil. Like he mentioned his wife, and it was still like nothing. Like he said, why don't you go figure out what the top dollar do? Go ask your wife. What does that even mean? Like, I don't understand that, like, I know, like, oh, part-timer, she came back champion, but I'm like, is that supposed to be, like, a dig? Or like, what? I mean, okay, but it seems like Punk is triggered by old. I don't when did becoming old suddenly become, like, some like, the offensive part in all this? I'm like, who cares? You know? Like, my head is, like, aching right now. And I'm trying to, like, just speak out, like, what I'm feeling, but I genuinely don't understand what's happening here. Like, in terms of, like, the storyline and what it means, I'm like, I don't get it. And this is I mean, we'll see next week. Maybe like, Roman's like, "You're old, your dog's old, but your dog's dead." I don't know, like, maybe that's where he goes, right? Like, he's just like I don't know. But I feel like this was the night for him like, dude, 2 weeks we waited. 2 weeks I was open for like, "Oh, this is the eruption." But at the end of the day, CM Punk is still good. He beat him on the mic. I don't care about this at all, like, less and less, to be honest with you. Um, I don't even know what role the Usos what are the Usos what role are the Usos gonna play in this? Let me try and find out through this. Hold on 1 second. Let's just uno momento. Alright, I found it. It basically the Usos and Logan Paul and Austin Theory. That's what their role is. Um, I guess, right? Like I think Paul Heyman was saying to get to the top again, we need the titles. We need championship. We need gold. Um, There's only a few weeks left to really build this whole thing together. And all right, like I don't know. This this episode of Raw was, I think, supposed to really be the the catalyst or some type of turning point in this story where you really see the feud heating up, right? You got 2 weeks ago with Punk and the father line. This was Roman coming back. I really expected to have a much grander uh, story leading into this. A much grander promo. Like, how are they gonna like honestly, like if you're building the promo for this, like the video package, there is very little footage to go off of. Like, what are you really gonna put in there? You're old, he hits him in the head. Alright, is this like oh my goodness. They're selling the fact that Punk is old. We know that also here's the other thing. CM Punk is 47 years old. Roman is 40. They're 7 years apart. This is not like, oh, like Randy Orton versus like The Undertaker where there's like a gigantic age gap between them. Right? Like during like his legend killer phase, like everyone he was like all the legends were like of yesteryear. So when Randy at the time called them old, like, oh, you're past your prime, I'm like, yeah, I believe that because it's true. But then you look at this and you're like, yeah, but you're like 7 years apart. And I would say Punk has done and accomplished more, I would say. Like he's like a relevant like name. And I know like Roman's like, well, I've headlined WrestleMania 11 times, this and that. And everyone acknowledges me. But I'm like, yeah, but he's still better. Like even like you know what I mean? Like promo, in ring, mic skills, on commentary. He beats you. Like I think Roman does have the more accolades, like in terms of like championships and reigns and this and that, no pun intended. But I'm like at the end of the day, like if you just say who's just better overall, as like I would say it's Punk on any given day. You give him the microphone, he'll know exactly how to get you to cheer or get you to boo him. And to this is quite a letdown, I would say, this night. Who knows? Let's see. Let's see where this goes. I oh god, this is so frustrating to honestly deal with. I don't understand why they even went this route. And with that being said, I know like, oh Jesus, this may be like a hard listen, honestly, because of the whole sickness and because I didn't it's another goddamn episode where I'm just off the cuff. Unbelievable. I truly hate doing these types of episodes because I don't have a full breakdown kind of ready. It's a failure on my part, to be honest. But yeah, tomorrow is SmackDown. And we're gonna be getting into all of it. Let's see if I recover by then. I doubt it, but let's see. And yeah, if you stayed this long, congratulations. Big ups to you. Cause I oh my god. But yeah, look, like, subscribe, and comment below. Share with someone. Share with a wrestling fan. Share with a wrestling fan who hasn't watched wrestling in years. Tell them to join me on this strange little experience that I'm going through. Watching Monday Night Raw every week, Friday Night SmackDown every week, and all the PLEs. And this is the road to WrestleMania, so, you know, this should be fun. This will be like my officially first road to WrestleMania where I'm actually keeping up with what's going on and what's happening in the build to certain things. Um, I think in the past years, I've just watched like one match and then just that's it. I'm like, cool. John Cena's back. I'll watch it. Yeah. This is his last WrestleMania, sure, of course. So, yeah. Like, subscribe, and I'll see you on the next one.